need to begin with a disclaimer this week then. Potentially at some point during this week's Chasing 40 we could just jump up and run away, never to return. So if you're looking at this and thinking, blimey, this week's episode's short, it's only 7 minutes long, it's because a couple of things might have happened. Well, actually we can scratch one off the list because the man from Sainsbury's with your shopping's already been, hasn't he?
Just 9 minutes late.
Right, he was 9 minutes late, so the Sainsbury's guy's been, so scratch that one off the list.
Yep.
But still, for the potential things that may end the podcast on here, we've got a potential nuclear war that could take place between America, well, it could be us all, couldn't it, because of America and North Korea. And also we've got an attack by a wild animal as well.
Yes.
So we've got to leave the nuclear war one on there because that could still happen. And the wild, where is this beastie as you refer to it? Was it last spotted in here?
No, it was in the living room, and I don't know what it is, but it looked about the size of my hand. And I caught it out the corner of my eye. It ran from under the TV unit across the floor in like a comedy style because it's wooden floors. It was like, and then it disappeared around the side of the settee somewhere.
Well, this is quite an old spooky building. You sure it's not that hand from the Addams Family? Because he hasn't worked for a few years, has he? I mean, that last movie was in the early 90s. Surely now he's probably got a normal job and he's moved on somewhere. He's moved out to Hollywood Hills.
But it could be a hand. It could have been a giant cockroach, I'm informed. It could have been a bird. It could have been a mouse. I have no idea what it is. All I know is that I screamed like a girl, locked myself in the bedroom with a phone, and then realised I was being held hostage by said beastie because there's no phone reception in my bedroom.
So there we go. There's the disclaimer and there's the explanation if this episode is a lot shorter than normal this week on Chasing 40. You know what? Before I get on to some clips that we need to recap from over the past couple of weeks, including the appearance of myself on an American show, which we'll get to a little bit later on. I've mentioned this before on the show, and I'm starting to get a bit wound up by my bloomin' dad, who keeps comparing me to people. Remember a few weeks back I was saying to you, I walked in the house and he said to me, "Who have you come as today? Hitler?"
I still can't get the Hitler thing,
what?
Sorry.
You look like Hitler, your hair looks like Hitler. My hair looks nothing like Hitler, even though, to be honest, there was a point this week for around about, 20 seconds where looking like Hitler was acceptable according to the White House press secretary, until he realised what an absolute fucking moron he is and went, oh yeah. Did you see that?
I did, but do you know, your hair's a bit floppier today, and I'm kind of getting the Hitler hair.
Oh, no. Well, anyway, it's not Hitler anymore, because I went to see my dad yesterday again. I said, "Hi, Dad." He went, "Who have you come as today?" I thought, here we go again. So who is it then? He went, "Fergal Sharkey." Oh, come on, there's going to be people listening to this now going, "Who's Fergal Sharkey?" Think that a good heart these days is hard to find. See, she's singing now, not just me. Bloke from the Undertones. It looks like he's been hit by a frying pan. Right, I don't look like I've been hit by a frying pan. Have I got Fergal Sharkey here? I was like, "Dad,
it's gone floppy."
I was thinking, what year, Dad, are you living in? Like, first it's blooming Hitler, now it's Fergal Sharkey. How'd you go from that look to the other?
Yeah. No, I can't see it.
So you think I've got a bit of a Fergal Sharkey look on the go? Oh, yeah. Great. Thanks for that one. There's the vote of confidence then to begin this week's episode. Last week then, it's a bit weird actually because it feels like we haven't done this for absolutely ages because last week we had to record early because of the Grand National weekend that took place. And a massive thank you, by the way, for the support that we had last week for not only this podcast but also our special that we did, Chasing Aintree. Combined, we had just shy of 1,500 downloads. So what a successful week it was. So thank you to everyone who listened. And I hope for the people who did listen to Chasing Aintree, they took the advice of our common man tipster James, because he gave out a few tips. He gave out some horses that he thought would do well. And one of them was the winner.
Wow.
And guess what? I didn't do it.
Neither did I.
So the whole point of that show that we did, by the way, and you can still check it out, it's available only on our YouTube channel, so just type in Chasing 40, you go to channel 29, you'll find it on there. But the whole point of this show that I did with him was James goes on strategy and fact, and he studies the race and post, he has every little bit of information before he makes a decision. I go on number and name. So if we're looking back on the Grand National 2017, my favourite number 29, which I said, back that. I went on about this on this programme all the way through. I backed number 29 for the past few years. It's won twice. It fell at the first fence. Everyone that I picked name-wise, I had 15 horses right. None of them finished in the top 10.
Oh, I see, I got fourth. I won £7.60.
A lot more than I bloomin' did. But James picked out quite a few, and he ended up, I think he got first, second and third. Wow. I think his main tip didn't do well, but the one that he mentioned, which was, and he gave a real favourable talk-up to, was one for Arthur. So, and if you don't believe me, you don't want to listen to it, have a listen to this. If your name is Arthur, you're definitely going to do this one, because it's one for Arthur.
Well, if you want stamina, this one is definitely full of it. And clearly, in the Grand National, where you need pure stamina, stamina rather. 2 and 2 could well make 4.
There we go. 2 and 2 did make 4.
And we're always interested in stamina.
And it made him a lot of blooming money. And he wasn't bothered about the stamina. He was just on about the 2 and 2 plus 4. But it was quite funny, actually, because last week, as I mentioned to you, I was going to be appearing on the Tom and Steve show, which we're going to play some highlights from at the end of this week's show and give you details on how you can check out the full interview. It'd be I think it was about 35 minutes we yapped on for on the Tom and Steve show.
You.
Yeah, me continually talking, shocker.
Never.
No. But it was quite funny because I mentioned to Tom and Steve before the interview that I was off out to go to the races, and I was talking about the Grand National to them. So obviously what they thought they'd do is have a little look and see what the Grand National was all about.
Oh.
So this week on one of their other shows, they've managed to look up the Grand National. I don't think they looked up the Grand National as such. I think they just looked up Ladies' Day.
And they went on images, didn't they?
Yeah. Now, the thing is for us over here, we know what Ladies' Day is all about, and we know the fun and games and the dress sense, which I think is great.
Yeah.
I mean, the pomp and pageantry, like, people go on about of Ascot. Balls to it. It's all about getting wrecked and having a good time and wearing your best clobber.
Exactly.
And that's what everyone does at Aintree and has a good time. But Tom and Steve haven't seen this before, so this is them discussing. These guys are based in Idaho, by the way. This is them talking about their view on Ladies' Day.
Chasing 40. We couldn't have started it
with a better group.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, Jeff is on it. Okay, way on it. In fact, he even took the time here recently, this last week, before they went out and did their Saturday Chasing 40. Okay, on Thursday, he went out and actually did a podcast with a horse handicapper because they've got this huge race coming up.
You showed me pictures.
Oh, I personally was going through and looking at the pictures of the horse racing and things like that. And then they had this.
And I was like, big hats like the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're like, well, yeah
but not so much. Well, remember, okay, Americans fled England as Puritans. So we're a little uptight.
Yeah,
we got some repressed sexual energy going on. Not so much in England there.
Yeah, it's like a horse race / Van Halen concert.
Yeah, where everybody dresses up really nice and a little slutty, and boy, do they put down some alcohol. Holy, and beautiful people dressed in beautiful clothes, drunk off their asses, and it looks like a lot of fun. I mean, that's definitely on my bucket list to get dressed up and go get hammered with those folks because they're a blast.
Europeans seem to take things to a higher level, a different level.
Yeah, they're just not so repressed. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I tell you what, they're big fans of you, by the way.
Me?
Yeah, you and your obsession with Vlad come up during our chats.
Oh, really?
So if you want to find out exactly what happened on the Tom and Steve show, make sure you tune in at the end of this podcast. We're going to put a clip. We're going to have some highlights of when I appeared on the Tom and Steve show last week, show based out of the States. But you know what? This week it's been crash bang wallop down to earth for me. I've had problems to deal with. Not only has it been recovering from that Aintree hangover of 3 days drinking, but my poor cat, he's got some psychological issues.
What?
Now, I wanted to speak to you because I remember not so long ago you mentioned to me that, and I don't know if I've dreamt this or I've imagined this, but did you say you have cat meditation CDs?
Yes.
Right. What? So you may have gone through a similar trauma to myself.
I was actually given it by my ex-mother-in-law. I don't know why. She thought that George had a few issues. My now dead cat, who's made an appearance on this show.
He's definitely got issues now, hasn't he? One being he's dead.
He's very chill though. He doesn't make a noise. But no, I don't know what. He'd been to stay with him. We'd gone on holiday, and George had gone for his holidays to his nan's. And we came back, and she gave me this. It was a book to read to him, and then there was a CD in the back of it, a cat meditation CD, and a plug-in like air freshener type thing that's supposed to chill him out a little bit. Why? What's up with Puss?
My cat has been diagnosed with anxiety and depression.
Actually diagnosed?
No, I'm not messing. We took him to the vet. Right, because what we've noticed happening is and as it tends to happen from time to time, you have other cats in the neighbourhood and they either get on with them or they fight with them. But this big cat just seems to be appearing quite a bit. And I've noticed Lennon running away from him, and he's not his jovial self sort of thing. He's not his playful self.
He's getting bullied.
Yeah, and what happened is a couple of times that cat has walked into the back kitchen and gone towards his food.
Ooh.
So I think it's messed with his head.
Yeah.
So what started happening anyway? He just went off his food. He stopped eating his food. So I cats do go off the food, so you change it from time to time, don't you? You get them something new. But then he started going to the toilet outside of his litter tray, so he'd be wetting himself. And we're thinking, what's going on? So anyway, we just thought there must be something wrong with him. He must be ill. So we took him to the vet, and the vet said, no, he's fine. And they did all the tests on it. And they asked about what's going on in his life at the moment, if he's got anything going on, any problems. And we brought up this other cat, and they said, yeah, straight away. Now, I just thought it was a joke. I'm going, yeah, no, what's really wrong with him? They go, no, it's a serious thing. Cats can get anxious and get depressed.
Yeah.
But we've even noticed that his little meow has got lower.
Oh.
So my cat, you couldn't make this up, could you? A cat called Lennon, who's a deep thinking, I can't think of the word, deep thinking animal. Deep thinking. I'm trying to think of something. Come on, help me out there. Just someone shout something. Deep thinking. Yeah, that's it. Your one worked better. He's deep thinking anyway. He's a cat called Lennon, and he's got a lot on his mind. Yeah, he's a sensitive little soul. So I'm thinking, like, what can I do? And they say to us, basically, what you need to do is you need to make sure that cat doesn't get in anymore.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that the door's closed at all times, and you just need to build up his confidence and, sort of make sure there's no things around him that can give him a fright, and just look after him. Just be really sensitive with him.
Aww.
Be really caring.
Poor little pussy.
No, but I'm thinking to myself, like, what can I do? Because I've been given a little bit more of a stroke than I normally would. I've not been shouting at him as much when he jumps at me and grabs me food and runs away and attacks. Because my cat, this cat up to this point was like Kato, from the Pink Panther movies. I would open the door first thing in the morning. It's like I get up at 5 in the morning, walking down the stairs. I'm like a zombie, and I just stare right at my head, like I go straight into a fight with it. So even when it does that, when it attacks me now, I'm going, okay, Lennon, that's all right. I know you've got your claw in my eye, but come on, let's get you off. But I was trying to think of other things that I can do to sort of rile him up, because they could have given motivational talks about other cats out there that are doing well. Like, the thing is, Lennon, I know it's bad for you at the moment, but look at Cat Dealey over in the States. She's doing really well. And of course, Cat Stevens had all that controversy, didn't he, after 9/11, where he, changed his name to Yusuf Islam, and people accept him now, and it's great.
Yeah, I'd get a meditation CD and just play it to him and chill him out.
Well, the other thing I was thinking was just to sit him down and watch some of the Rocky films with me. That always works for me when I'm feeling a bit down. Come on, Lennon. Look, this is what you need to do. Watch this montage from Rocky 4. It's not just one montage, there's two. And when he runs up the mountain, it's fantastic. So I need some advice. Either I can lend that CD and that book from you, which would be great. Or maybe, I don't know, if there's someone listening who can get in touch with us through the week and give me some tips on how I can bring Lennon back to life.
It might be like a cat whisperer. Like a horse whisperer. I don't know. Or Reiki. Reiki chills people out. Reiki for the cat. I don't know.
I'm sure he'd like in my face in the morning when it dives at me. Yeah,
cat yoga, because you can get dog yoga.
You're joking.
So it could be like koga.
There is a dog yoga.
Yeah, you can do dog yoga.
What's going on with this blooming world?
You just want to chill them out. There's a lot going on. These animals are sensitive. They're watching all of this news about what's going on everywhere. They're going to be just as horrified at the thought of a nuclear bomb coming over, and they haven't got the prospect of just drinking Prosecco until it's all over.
So this is what we're looking for then now. I'm reaching out to you because Bec's going to lend me a CD, and she suggested some cat yoga and a few other things. Is there anyone who can help me bring Lennon back to life? The last thing I want is him to go into seclusion and not be the pussy that he once was. I need him back. I need my super cat back to his best. My Kato, my little Lennon. Oh, but yeah, that was the last thing I needed to deal with this week, I tell you.
Poor little thing.
I've got on my list here, and I don't know why you keep wanting me to bring this up. Is this just so you can talk about the food festival?
Yeah.
What? I think my fish.
Your fish thing is just plain weird. Now, I've got weird eating habits, granted, but none of them are as weird as your fish. Why don't you eat fish?
Because there's a logical reason behind why I don't eat fish, and it goes back many years.
It's not logical.
Well, I'm not eating it now for this reason that I stopped eating it back in the early 90s. But I've just gone that long without eating fish that I don't miss it anymore, and I just don't want it.
So why did you stop?
Right, I stopped eating fish when I got a goldfish. Right, when I was a kid. Don't laugh. But I never knew what happened would happen. So I get this goldfish in about 1991, 92 or something like that. And when I met him for the first time, Dizzy was his name. I said, Dizzy, you know what? Me and you are pals now. I said, so until you pass away, out of respect for you, I'm not going to eat fish. The fish, right, lived through to about 2005. mean, at this point, by the way, it wasn't like I've been going to fine seafood restaurants or anything like that. It was just the old Captain Birdseye fish fingers I was having, maybe a fish cake from time to time. But after that, when Dizzy came along, I said I'm not going to eat a fish anymore. So it went on and on. Obviously, the fish that survived. I moved down south. I moved back from down south. Moved with the fish. Brought them back up with me. We moved all around the country.
Dizzy,
me
the
and this
most
goldfish.
well-travelled goldfish.
Yeah, that goldfish was like a blooming Rolling Stone. It went everywhere with me. And it wouldn't die, so I couldn't eat fish. And then eventually, when it passed away, it was a sad day. I remember I had a can of cider in my hand as I tapped the fish bowl, said my goodbyes to him as he floated to the top on his side.
And what happened to Dizzy? Where did you put him?
I put him in a fish coffin and put him in a little boat and lit him on fire and set him off to sea in the Mersey like a Viking. I didn't. I buried him in the back garden. But that sounded a bit dramatic, that, didn't it? It would have been great if I would have done that.
I won't tell you that cat probably ate it.
So I remember from that point thinking, you know what, I can eat fish now if I want. But I got that much down the line, really, with not eating it, that I just didn't fancy it anymore. And the thing is, as well, is still to this day when I go in, like a Sainsbury's or a Morrison's, and I see the fish, it freaks me out seeing dead fish.
I don't like the eyes. The eyes aren't nice. But if it's just if I go and get some sea bass out in my freezer now, would you lick it?
See, that makes me, I feel a bit sick.
Would you lick me sea bass?
I would not lick your fish. No, I wouldn't.
A little nibble?
No, I'll tell you what, there's one thing, because I won't even touch them. I remember we did a thing on, I can't remember what show it was. I think it was when I was on Buzz. It was about 10 years ago now anyway. And we did a thing called Fear Friday. And this is the only time I've ever told a lie on air, right? Now, Fear Friday was about us all facing our fears. So if someone had a phobia of something, we'd have to face it. Oh. So we had someone with a massive python, brought the snake in, they had to hold that, and tarantulas, various stuff like that. And for me, right, fish, I wouldn't touch a fish because they freak me out, a dead fish. So I was supposed to get whacked in the face by a dead fish, you know, like the Monty Pythons. I remember they brought it in, everyone's there going, this is going to be great. I just went, get that fucking thing away from me now. But we're going live in a minute, we've got to do it. I said, no, we're not. This is what we're going to do. And I got a rubber glove out, filled it with, I think it was jelly. Got them to hit me with the rubber glove.
You pretended.
So I lied. So anyone listening to that episode of Fear Friday many, many years ago, if you listened to me on the radio, I'm sorry. I'm fessing up now. I just couldn't do it. And still today, I couldn't. I, even if it was a frozen one, I just wouldn't want to.
I mean, the faces on them's bad. I went for a meal the other week and the food came out and it had a prawn on it that was still in its full body armour.
Was this when you were saying with the eyes? Oh, see
and
that?
it looked, and I had to make a blindfold out of a clamshell so it wasn't looking at me while I ate the rest of it, and I just left it in its armour.
I'm not messing that, actually. I do feel sick thinking about it.
The worst, and this is how this whole conversation came up. I was looking through pictures from the Liverpool Food Festival from a couple of years ago. So it's on this weekend. I can't wait. I'm going over there tomorrow. Can't wait. But one stand I won't be going to is the one that was advertising mackerel semen. Oh. And people were queuing for it. It was like £2 or something. I have no idea what you do.
This is like, though, isn't like caviar.
That's eggs. Caviar's just eggs. It's not the actual.
But I think that's horrible.
Fish man juice.
So is this seen as some sort of delicacy?
I just stood there like, going, is that what it actually says it is? And I just stood there staring, and there was queues of people.
See, this is why I'm telling you, fish, it's horrible. This fish thing is sickening. People going, oh, lovely, nice fish. So you're going to put mackerel semen there. We're going to put fish. You don't see someone saying, oh, I'm going to have for breakfast some pig balls, do you?
Well, yeah, sweet. Oh, no, that. Where does sweet bread come from?
All right, someone's going to hit me back with, what about black pudding? Yeah, that is a bit creepy, but I don't have that either.
The only fish I won't eat is trout, and that's purely because when I was little, my school teacher, Mrs. Barkers, took us to a sewage treatment works for a school trip. That's the kind of school I went to.
I wish you could see the face I'm pulling right now.
And you know, like when the miners used to go down the pits, they'd have canaries, and if the canaries stopped singing, obviously there was an issue.
They used to take a fish down there. That fucking floor from the off. They'd be dead by the time they got in the lift.
No, they had trout at the sewage works.
Oh, right.
And if there was... So to me, trout, if it's a dead trout, it could well be been swimming in human poo. Oh. So I can't eat trout. I've got a thing about that, but that's it. Trout, and I don't want to see the eyes looking at me. Or mackerel semen. No way. Thank you very much.
Can we move on?
You're going to be sick.
I am. No, I literally.
You've gone pale.
Fish. I just can't. I can't get it. I will never eat fish again. And now
I'm going to hit you with one though. That we're not getting away with that lying thing.
One day, one day we're going to get him back for that lie he told on the radio. It's Jeff's day with Destiny. He's going to be twatted in the face with a big pike. That is a fish, isn't it? One of them.
Poo-covered trout.
Oh. Stop it. Move on. Let's get your records.
Okay.
Because I was laughing to myself when you showed me this before. Why are we talking about this again?
I was on the telly the other day. Now 96. Can you believe it's up to 96?
You know, when you sent me that, you went, "Now, can you believe it? Now 96 is out," and I was thinking, what's she on about? I bought Now 96 in 1996. I had Cher on it. I'm making the mechanics, and then I realised what you meant. It was obviously the Countdown one that was going up.
Yeah. I honestly, I can't believe it, but it made me think. Like, I've got a drawer full. I haven't got a record player, but I've got a drawer full of old records. I've got like the Mr. Men album, Gazza and Friends, the Snowman, all
the big
kinds.
hits.
But I've got the very first. Now that's what I call music.
I wonder if this is worth any money, because it's on vinyl as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's just like looking through who's still on it.
It used to be a big thing.
Oh, look, it's still got my name tag on it because I took it to school.
Where's
Get
that?
record out, look. Rebecca Turton, so no one would pinch it.
Oh, God. Used to be a big thing, though, didn't it, when you were a kid with the Nam albums when they come out? You'd always have the first side to be full of great records, and you get about 3 or 4 songs into the second side, and then it'd be absolute crap. Be like the ones that now thought, these are going to be, I'm telling you, these are going to be massive. Look at this band, Shampoo Trouble. It's going to, honestly, these are going to be like the new Blondie.
Oh, Kaja Goo Goo's on there.
No, the funny thing is I was looking through the track listing for this one. The thing is, what year is this now?
Genesis, look, there's your Phil Collins.
Yeah, there's someone else on in a minute you're going to laugh at when I tell you this story. Yeah, 1983, okay, was when the first Now came out, so I'm looking at it. Let's go through side 1, Phil Collins, You Can't Hurry Love. If you look about, a lot of these are still relevant. Phil Collins is about to play Hyde Park, isn't he? He's got that big tour. Duran Duran is something I should know. Still big, aren't they? Still selling out arenas. UB40, still technically, there's 2 versions of them now. Lamar, okay, you got a point there.
He still does Butlins and stuff.
All right, yeah. Heaven 17.
He does Butlins stuff.
They're definitely touring. Casey and the Sunshine Band, I've not seen or heard anything of them recently. Malcolm McLaren, well, there'll be no comeback from him with him being dead. Bonnie Tyler, Culture Club.
Yeah.
Right, Culture Club. I actually text a mate through the week because the Culture Club and the Jacksons are playing Haydock races. So I said, get the tickets. I want to go and see both of them.
The real ones?
Yeah, the Jackson, well, minus Michael.
Well, obviously.
They're playing after the races at Haydock.
Animatronics, maybe.
So Culture Club, yeah, you know, I'll be going to see them soon, so they're still relevant in my world. Men Without Hats, got no idea where they are now. Kajagoogoo, same thing with Lamar, isn't it? So we know what he's doing. Butlins. Mike Oldfield doesn't have to do anything because he's made that much cash from that album. Men at Work, are they still kicking around?
Not heard of them.
They got sued though, didn't they, I think, for that song not so long ago. Yeah, they lost a load of money on that. Rocksteady Crew. Hey, you, Rocksteady Crew. Rod Stewart, legend. Oh, the bod. He was on tour last year. I went to see him a few years ago in Swansea. Absolutely fantastic. Paul Young, Wherever I Lay My Hat. Paul Young, I've ever told you the story about Paul Young when we interviewed him. He's done loads of like mad things. I think most recently he's probably famous for being a chef, isn't he? On what was it, Hell's Kitchen or something? He was on one of them. Yeah, it was Hell's Kitchen with Marco Pierre White. He was doing this like tour with a Tex-Mex band, like some Mexican style music. So we did the interview. We agreed to do the interview, and we're thinking we're not going to talk about this. We just want to talk about his career. Yeah. So we have a chat with him. He said, "What we'll do is we'll do the first part about your career, then we'll go on to the Tex-Mex stuff." He's like, "Yeah, fine, no problem." So anyway, we do like 15, 20 minutes talking to him about his career. Really good. Then we just give a half-arse 5 or 6 minutes talking about Tex-Mex music and his upcoming concert. Just to sort of, be as if we were slightly interested, just add a bit more to it. We go at the end. The thing is, Paul, it's been really interesting you talking about that, but would it have been great if, a couple of the other guys from your Tex-Mex band could have been on to expand on and talk a little bit more about the tour and the inspirations behind the music, but we obviously now know that we're running out of time because we only had like a 25-minute slot, and it was at that exact moment we just heard this fella go, I'm here. Oh! The bloke who we started the band with. I've been here all the time.
And he just not spoke.
We're like, sorry, Manuel, or whatever your name is. We didn't know you were there. I thought, Paul Young could have at least said, there's someone here with me about that band.
How rude.
Shows you with these celebrities, you get them talking about their career, and that's it, their egos run wild. New Edition, Bobby Brown. Yeah, freaking hell, Kajagoogoo, how good a year was it for them?
I know.
3 songs.
3?
No, well, technically with Lamar, because Lamar was in it, so... Tina Turner, she's retired now, isn't she? Human League, right? They're playing a gig in Liverpool. I'm going to try and go and see them later on this year. Now, this was the one. 21, Howard Jones' new song. He's playing over in Liverpool next month. And I was saying to someone who was a fan of 80s music, I was going, are you going to come and see Howard Jones with me? And she was going, I can't remember Howard Jones. I stood there, I'm not messing, 2 days ago and sung his back catalogue.
I don't even remember how it turns out.
Waiting for too long. I've got the words wrong there. I'm not going to sing again.
No.
Puff your metal chains.
Oh, I know that bit.
Yeah, that's that one.
Yeah.
And he did What Is Love and Things Can Only Get Better. UB40 again.
Peebo Bryson and Rough Berta. That's one of my favourite all-time songs.
And then side 4, we're on to now. Tracy Ullman, Willpower, Kiss 'Em with Confidence, Genesis, of course, The Cure, Simple Minds, Madness, who again I'm going to go and see in a couple of weeks' time in the Culture Club. You know what?
Good playlist, isn't it?
A lot of people got quite a few songs on this album, though, didn't they? When you think about it, there wasn't that many artists that were dominating the charts in that year. So so happy 96th birthday, I suppose. 1983. So let's do the maths now, because I'm great when it comes to maths. Where's my pen? So we work this one out. So 1983 we're in the year 2017 now, aren't we?
34.
So
34
1983. Years. So we start with 1983 and then we count up 84.
You don't have to go by one. You can go by tens. So 10 years is 93.
So we 10 years is okay. So we're up to 1993 now. So we're up to 2003.
Then 2013.
So that's 20 years now. At 2003, yeah.
Yeah.
Not 200 years that I've.
No,
why
have you written 200?
So 20 years, okay.
2013 is 30 years.
So 30 years, okay.
So 34 years?
So it's 34 years. So there you go. So that's how we got to that math there. We started at 1983. We put 10 on, then we put 10 on, then we put 10 on, then we added, and then we counted, and there we go.
Clever?
34 years. Told you. Mathematical genius, I am.
Please, we went to school.
Didn't even need a calculator. Talking of school, actually, what's that other one before we get onto that?
This is my Bros picture disc. Unfortunately, it's got Craig Logan on, but I can snap that off. But it's signed by Matt. Bec, I missed you this time. My love as always, Matt Goss.
So when's that one from? Because I thought it wasn't this when you met him then.
No, he came back in, but I was on holiday.
By the way,
you can touch it, yeah. It's in a protective sleeve, but you may touch it. I'd left it for him to be signed because unfortunately he came back for a second visit.
Yeah.
And I'd gone on holiday. I don't know if I'd gone away to get married or not, actually.
How selfish of you, eh?
I know. But Lisa, that I was doing the show with at the time, she said, I'll get it signed. And yeah, that's when he declared his undying love for me.
Oh,
clearly.
You need to get that put in a frame. We should get a picture of that and we'll put it up on it. I'm sure Bec will put a picture of it up on her Instagram. So you
Without
can check
Craig,
that one out.
a bit like a fish head.
What have you got against him?
He's a right ugly sod, isn't he? And he wasn't a brother. Shouldn't be in there.
Well, he's not anymore.
Infiltrator.
He's got what it was deserving of him. He's been kicked out, the band. Have you got your tickets, by the way? Yeah, because you keep saying to me every time I come round.
They're still at my old flat. No,
you need to pick them up. What if someone robs them on you and you don't get your chance to see Bros?
Oh, you don't, because you're coming.
I am going to go and see Bros with her. God, you listen. I honestly have got some decent music tastes. All I've talked about is I'm going to see Howard Jones, the Culture Club, the Jacksons, and Bros over the past 5 minutes.
Welcome back to the 80s.
Yeah, you mentioned about your school sticker on that album, because we've got, and this is brilliant. We're going to do it next week on the show because we're just running out of time. We want to get after the break. We're going to get to the clips from last week's interview when I was on the Tom and Steve show. But Bec has found all her old school reports. I don't want to spoil it, but she's also found, is it a book that you wrote as a kid?
Oh, honestly, this book, it's great. I've illustrated it and everything, but I swear, if I was a child at school now and I showed this to my teacher, I would be locked up in an asylum somewhere.
It's that bad, is it?
It's graphic. Let me tell you that.
I'll tell you what, actually, I'm quite glad that I can hear the music playing now when it's time for a break, and we've got Tom and Steve next because I've just had word that Nuclear Water's on the way. We'll see you in a bit.
On our line right now, we have the brilliant Jeff Nolan, who has his own podcast called Chasing 40. He is a resident of the lovely country of England. I believe he is in Liverpool, and we've got him on the show right now. Jeff, it's you, baby.
Hey, you okay, guys?
Yeah, we're
doing
here.
well, brother. Doing well. Like I said, thank you for being our very first guest. A lot of people in the podcast industry out there are doing the podcasts gratis. They have no advertiser. They're doing it out of the love and the joy of doing the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed in episode 3, all of a sudden, you guys had advertisers. And I thought, brilliant. How did he do that? Did he get on the phone and start calling people and say, we got a great little show. Would you like to sponsor us?
I think the thing that you're referencing, Steve, was something which we were talking about on last week's show and the weeks previous, where Bec, my co-host, has revealed she's got a bit of a thing for Vladimir Putin.
Oh, yeah.
To this day.
It was hilarious.
It was hysterical.
We were discussing that, and then, lo and behold, a few days later, a friend of mine logs on and watches one of the episodes and is greeted by an advert for a Russian car agency. So we just found that quite funny, quite a novelty.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. In fact, I was going to ask you, being that Bec has stated her undying admiration for Vlad, has he reached out to have her come maybe visit out there in, St. Petersburg or anything like that? He is single now, so,
Well, I don't think she knows that, but if she's aware that he is single and he's ready to mingle, blimey, God knows what next week's going to be.
You guys will be...
I don't know, though, but as far as I'm aware, there's no plans for us to visit Moscow yet.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So one of the things that we were talking about a little bit is that you and Bec started, in the UK radio business. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I've been doing it since it was 1996 when I was asked at school what I wanted to do for my school work experience, and he said to me, what is it you want to do? You're have to go out for a couple of weeks and be in a workplace and figure out what you're going to do when you leave these school gates. And I straight away just said, it's okay, you don't need to send me anywhere, I'm going to be a rock and roll star. At the time, I thought I was going to be a rock and roll star. I had a little band on the go. Sadly, though, we were absolutely crap. So that didn't help our cause. So I had to pick something else, and it's not something your school can send you to go on tour. Yeah, for a couple of weeks with Fleetwood Mac or something like that. So I ended up going to a radio station, and that's where it all began for me. Mm-hmm. And all these years on, I'm still finding myself in front of a microphone talking, not playing the records, but chatting away. Similar thing with Bec, really. When she was young, she got into journalism, and then from the journalism course, she ended up getting into hosting. And then we met in 2000, I think it was 2005 or 2006. When we were both working for a company which at the time was called GCAP Media, and they were the biggest radio group in Great Britain. Mm-hmm. Bec was doing a show in the North Wales, so it was Wrexham and Chester she was covering, whereas I'd come to do a show covering the Wirral and Liverpool. So we were both based in the same building but on separate stations. Mm-hmm. And what would happen from time to time, we'd sort of get together and do the odd show over bank holidays. Obviously we were there on a daily basis working away. So that's how we met. In 2010, when I left Heart, I said to Bec, look, I've got a couple of things, bits and bobs to do. We'll get together for a drink in a couple of weeks' time. And she said, fine, that's great. Anyway, we didn't speak or see each other for 6 years until before Christmas, when we got together, had a few drinks, and that's where I had the idea for Chasing 40, and that's how we got back together. So it's weird and strange how things happen, but that's the beauty of show design.
It makes a lot of sense that you guys were in radio before, because I noticed that you did only have 6 or 7 episodes, and I was like, wow, these guys sound so seasoned right out of the gate.
One of the things that I'm finding of your show is you're getting very global interaction and global listenership. You want to expand on that a little bit, how that makes you feel?
It's really taken me aback, and it's so nice. And again, I think thank you. I've turned into Elvis Presley here, haven't I? Well, thank you very much. Good to you guys because of the compliments that are coming through. And it's really blown me away, because again, you go to a radio station and you know this radio station has X amount of listeners, so you're starting with 100, 200,000 listeners. Mm-hmm. This is where they are, this is the way it's going to be, and then you build from that. And with a podcast, with what me and Bec have done, we were starting with nothing. I like to compare it as well, like a bit like, in a way, like Rick Astley. There we go. There's a bit of a sort of one-hit wonder-esque type person from many, many years ago. But like a couple of singers who haven't had a hit for a few years, starting off fresh again. And it's that sort of concern. The first thing I said to Bec was, my main worry, is anyone going to listen? Because with a podcast, it's not like you've got 20,000 people who are sat there waiting for you, going, right, go. You're going into the unknown, you're putting it on these sites, and you've got to watch it slowly and organically build up. I mean, we've got people and fans that have followed us over the years from various radio stations who will see our name out there or see us publicise it on social media and listen in. But to have even, you guys contact us has taken me aback. And as you mentioned about the sort of global following, we know we've got people listening in Germany, Ukraine, Hong Kong, Australia, Canada, United States of America. It's been great to see.
Well, one of the things that I'm finding very surprising, I guess surprising isn't the right word, very joyous, is the fact that when we were doing our show, we were getting a lot of very good input from other people like you from around the world who were listening.
Yeah.
And it's very, very, very heartwarming to know that the planet basically consists of a bunch of humans out there that are pretty like-minded. The diatribe that the press puts out and the news media's put out, where those evil people over there and those evil people over there help perpetuate their agenda. And what I'm finding in the podcast community, when you are reaching out all over the world and everybody's pretty much talking the same language, that it's starting to break down the barriers of nationalism, which honestly, if my one goal could be, it would be that everybody started talking to each other a little bit and finding out that there's a lot more that we have in common than not.
Do you know what, Steve? What we'll say there, that was really eloquently put together there. That was a more eloquent version of the end of Rocky IV for me there. That was beautiful, man.
Thank you.
I'll tell you.
To again reiterate, I'm a huge fan of the show. It is very fun to listen to. It's timed wise, you're in that 40-minute orientation, so you're not committing yourself to a 4-hour podcast. You and Bec bounce off of each other brilliantly.
And I love the accents. I think you guys could be really big over here just because
What accents? They don't have accents. We have accents, asshole.
I think the Beatles have already beat me to that one when it comes to the Liverpool accent, so...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I think as well you look like Paul McCartney, and I'm showing that out there as a compliment, and I don't give a fuck if you're old or not. So there's that.
I once was told that by a Paul McCartney impersonator, and I thought he was just taking the piss, but if you think that, maybe he was right all them years ago.
Absolutely.
Paul's one of my heroes. Any sort of same light or position as Macca, then I'll go with that one.
Well, Jeff, thank you again so much for being on our show and being our very first guest with the new format. We want nothing but great success for you and Bec, to the point where maybe the only event planning Bec's doing is doing live podcast stuff with you guys that are filling auditorium.
And I hope you don't mind, Jeff, but we're going to check in on you from time to time.
Thank
you so much. I'm going to start a Hall of Fame page on our website, by the way, Steve.
Yeah.
This is news to you as well.
Yeah, thank you.
And you're going to be at the top of that page, Jeff.
Great. Well, if you could do that and you could put a caption underneath it, the picture of me smiling away.
I'll do it.
Oh, absolutely. You
can't be first, but baby, you can be next.
We love it, man.
It's great to be the first one.
Well, Jeff, it's been a true pleasure talking to you halfway across the world. The digital age is making our planet smaller and making it harder to hide the secrets. So I'm glad that we got to hear you. I'm glad we got to have you as part of our podcast family. And we love you, man. And all the best to you and to Bec. I hope you guys make millions and millions and millions of dollars out of this.
Oh, thank you, my brothers.
Yeah, thank you, man. Love you, Jeff.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah,
Good luck.
Okay.
Chasing 40, guys. It's one to listen to. It's one of the best.
Cheers.
So if you want to check out the full-length version of my appearance on the Tom and Steve Show, you just check out the Chasing 40 Twitter feed, and you'll find the links on there. And also we'll put some links on the description to wherever you're listening right now as well. But it's about 35 minutes long, so I thought we put a little bit of an edited version on there of my appearance on the show.
They only asked like 2 questions.
Yeah, they did.
Just one.
Couldn't stop. Motor Mouth here again. They want you to come on as well. We're going to make another appearance on there at some point. So I don't know. I think you should go on there next, and then maybe we'll do it together. And then
It'll be like a 3-hour show.
Yeah, you might want to make sure you got a lot of tape running there, Tom and Steve, because it could go on for some time. So thank you very much for listening this week. Remember, you can check us out on so many platforms. We're on YouTube, also on SoundCloud. You can do the like thing on there, and also subscribe as well, or I think it's follow on SoundCloud. Just search us out, Chasing 40. And of course, on iTunes, this is the easiest one of the lot, where you can leave us a 5-star review if you want. All you got to do is click that subscribe button, and Apple will do the work for you every single week. They drop it in to your inbox. So have yourself a great week. And remember, next week, honestly, you do not want to miss next week's episode. You're going to think Bec is an absolute fecking psychopath when you see this book that she wrote. How old were you again?
It was primary school, so pre-10.
All that and more. Have a great week. We'll see you then.